We are starting
Silence, s'il
recording
vous
now.
plaît.
Camera rolling.
Congratulations, everyone. It's a beautiful film. James, I want to start with you and ask, when did you sort of, being so closely tied to your own life, when did you sort of think about putting this on paper and making it a full-fledged feature?
Well, it started when I took my children to where I grew up, which would have been around 2016. I used to tell them bedtime stories. Now they're too old. They don't want it. And they would say, I want to see where you grew up, Daddy. I want to see where you grew up. And we went back there, and there was really no evidence of my childhood left. And I realized that all those family dinners of such importance, they were all gone. They were all dead. So I viewed it as like a ghost story. And it was about 2016, and I wrote the script in 2019.
This film seems so timely, even though it's a time capsule. You got threads of Reagan-era conservatism. The Trumps play a small part in this. I thought really beautiful tales of Jewish diaspora. When you look back at your family and your life, do you realize how much of those threads still are present in our everyday lives now?
History is like, in a way, you have to view it like an onion, when you're cooking, and you just keep peeling it away, and you never really can get to the center. But just because there are so many layers to history, and just because it's that complex, it doesn't mean that it's not our job to probe. And I see all the threads, and they all make sense. It's like part of a tapestry to me, really.
Jeremy and Anne, you guys do such a good job of making this marriage feel really lived in. You kind of feel the years that they were raising the kids. Did you spend any time together? How did you sort of form that bond?
Well, thank you. Annie and I know each other, actually, and we'd worked together already before this. So there was already a shorthand and a bond and an ease and a sort of canvas that we could build on. What did we first do? We went for a walk with Banks to the obelisk.
Yes.
Before we started.
Yes. I wanted to go for a walk with Banks, just because I didn't know. Sometimes when someone's young and you might be someone that they've seen in movies, you just want to make sure that you spend time with them and they understand that you're a person and that there's someone home. Gary Marshall used to say, when I look at people, I always check to see if there's someone home in there. And so we just had a walk around the reservoir, and Jeremy and I thought it would be fun to surprise him at the end if Irving just appeared. And he did, and we just kind of fell in and started walking as a family, and we walked to the obelisk. And Banks went home with his mother, and then Jeremy and I had dinner, kind of half in character, half out of character, talking through. Luckily, one of the great joys of working with an actor as extraordinary as Jeremy is we felt the same instincts for what's essential to establish a family. What do we need to communicate to the audience, and what is the basic structure that we have to work off of? You sort of build the shape of the thing together, and then we showed up. And Jeremy understood his character so well. He had jokes. He could joke in character. He knew how to fix a refrigerator. And I really felt that between him and then Anthony Hopkins' unparalleled mastery of the craft, I just was like, just don't get in the way, just reflect. Just absorb, learn, and reflect.
One of the most amazing naturalistic things about the film, I think, is there's a lot of really interesting physicality. And I think we discussed, you have, I think in your previous work, you have like a really sort of like almost theatrical kind of body language. You're always really open, but for this, you were very sort of withdrawn. There's a heartbreaking moment after the funeral when you all get out of the car to go back into the house, and your son reaches for you and you kind of turn away and then skulk.
It's totally her, by the way. I'm sorry to interject. You're quite right. I'm glad you noticed it. It's totally her doing. It is, I think, when you're a director, you want to be, Diaghilev said, étonnez-moi, surprise me. And she did that, and I thought that was the greatest thing ever. I can't say it enough. That is such brilliance. Thank you.
It also, we were helped by James. We're here because of James, and we were able to do the work we were able to do because of James and the intimacy with which we all made this film. There was a photograph album on the coffee table that was the photograph album, and
Yeah.
And Happy Massey, the production designer, the level of verisimilitude and detail recreating this home. So it was, once we had done our work, there was an ease and an intimacy to being able to inhabit this ghost story.
And did that come to you in the moment, or did you prepare that sort of?
So just knowing the trajectory of a character, there was a scene that wound up not being in the film, and my decision in that moment was to set up the expectation for what the audience was about to see in that film, which was Esther's processing of her grief. And it was very important to me to show that she was a woman who was not used to being touched, and my life is very different, and touch overwhelms her, and I saw a real tragedy in the idea that in that moment her son wanted so much to reach out to her and to connect and be there for her, and she did not have the capacity to absorb love in that moment. And that's real. And I've observed that. I've been that. Hopefully I'm growing in my life to be someone who can. And that's why, I always say this, I just love human beings so much. I just love us so much. I think that we're such heartbreaking creatures. And James said something very important yesterday that it was important to me. He said there's a difference between sad and depressing, and there's great beauty in sadness.
That scene that she's talking about, it was a moment. The reason I cut it was because of the thing that she did here, because it felt like it was already there in the DNA. And that moment of behavior, which I didn't direct, didn't ask for, you heard the thought process there, how good it is, how clear it is. That's all you can ask for from an actor.
It was amazing to film, and you were such a wonderful partner in it. Oh my God, I'm so happy to just know that we did that. But it wasn't right for the film. And I loved your choice to not include it.